Injuries are one of the worst parts of sports. It is terrible when someone gets hurt and cannot play or at least perform at their peak performance. In the NBA, there have been many very good and even great players whose careers have been ended or at least strongly impacted due to injuries. I wanted to tell you about 10 players who I think could have had much better careers than they had and think they could have played a lot longer if those injuries did not occur. Here is the 10. Number 1. Grant Hill. Grant Hill is potentially one of the biggest what-if stories we have ever seen in the NBA. Hill came into the league exactly when everyone was missing Michael Jordan, after the Bulls split up and actively looked for a worthy replacement. As soon as Hill came in, he made a huge impact. His average the first season of play was 19.9 points, 6.4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.8 steals. He won Rookie of the Year along with Jason Kidd that year. After being named an All-Star in 5 out of 6 of his first seasons, he signed a mega deal for $93 million to go to Orlando. Because of that, we all expected to live in the Grant Hill era. The man was unstoppable at that time, with averages of 25.8 points, 6.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists, and 1.4 steals. Before he signed with the Magic, on April 15, 2000, a week before the playoffs, Hill suffered an ankle sprain on his left foot against the 76ers. Hill thinks that because the Pistons expected him not to re-sign, they cleared him by saying it was only a bone bruise and hoping for the best. He continued to play, always in severe pain. That is until Game 2 of the first round of the playoffs versus the Miami Heat, where he ended up breaking the same injured ankle. This is what Hill said about his injury. At the time I got hurt, I felt like the game was becoming very easy for me. I was entering my prime. There was an understanding of the game. I felt the next 4 or 5 years would be an opportunity and a time to really make my mark and really go for it. Orlando hoped for Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill to team up and be something special for the Magic. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Hill's nagging ankle injuries would force him to miss 292 out of a possible of 492 regular season games. He missed the entire 2003-2004 season. Hill made an unbelievable comeback for the 2004-2005 season. Unfortunately, by that time, McGrady had already made a name for himself and was playing for the Houston Rockets. Hill was finally healthy, playing 67 games and averaging 20 points a game that season after missing nearly 3 years. He would miss 61 games the following season due to a nagging groin injury. Orlando started looking at Hill as a $93 million mistake, but it wasn't Hill's fault when you're putting your $1 million body in the hands of the team's medical staff and trust their opinion. No wonder these days many players get second and third opinions on injuries they have. Only you care about you in the way that is best for you. After that initial ankle injury, Grant Hill was just never the same and could have been so much better. His career stats are 6.7 points, 6.0 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 1.2 steals. He played for Detroit Pistons, Orlando Magic, Phoenix Suns, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Number 2. Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady was an absolute beast. After he was overshadowed for the beginning of his career in Toronto by Vince Carter, McGrady turned into possibly the best player in the NBA. There were literally debates on who you think is better, Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant. That's true, no joke. His best season in Toronto under Vince, he averaged 15.4 points and was developing nicely. In his 4th season, as soon as he signed with the Orlando Magic, McGrady took the league by storm and his average went up to 26.8 points with 7.5 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 1.5 steals and blocks. He was 21 years old at the time. Grant Hill and Tracy both joined the Orlando Magic for the 2000-2001 season, and if both stayed healthy, Orlando would have been a powerhouse. Both of them would have averaged around 60 points per game and were going to be a super duo in the league. McGrady's best ever moment was, I think, when he dropped 13 points in 35 seconds against the San Antonio Spurs when he played for the Houston Rockets. It was incredible. Unfortunately, the always nagging back spasms, shoulder issues, and knee injuries including a microfracture surgery took T-Mac's explosiveness away, and he was never the same. His best season was in 2002-2003 when he averaged 32 points and 39% from three. His career stats are 19.6 points, 5.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 1.2 steals. He played for Toronto Raptors, Orlando Magic, Houston Rockets, New York Knicks, Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, and the San Antonio Spurs. Number 3. Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy only played 5 seasons really in the NBA, but was well on his way to being a top 10 player in the league.
He's making the most. Roy goes inside and posterizes, checks some.
He was selected as a 6th pick by the Portland Trail Blazers, and in his first season won Rookie of the Year, averaging 14.5 points per game. The award was a complete no-brainer because he received 127 out of 128 first-place votes. In the same draft, we had Rajon Rondo, Rudy Gay, LaMarcus Aldridge, and others, just to put things in perspective. Roy is a 3-time All-Star, and he was so good and had such potential that even Jusuf Nurkic, a current Trailblazer, had recently said that Brandon Roy should be on people's top 5 Blazer players of all time. In 2008-2009, he even finished with the 9th place for MVP voting. Brandon Roy's injury was something that really couldn't be treated or healed. Roy had a degenerative issue with his knee, because of which his cartilage in both knees wore off and he was basically bone on bone. His last real season was in 2011, in which he played 47 games. He called it quits and retired after that season, telling the Portland Trail Blazers he could not continue. After an extensive rehab and rest, he attempted a comeback for the 2012-13 season, but lasted only 5 games before being waived by the Minnesota Timberwolves and retiring for good. His career stats are 18.8 points, 4.3 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 1 steal. He only really played for Portland Trail Blazers. Number 4. Anthony Hardaway. Anthony "Penny" Hardaway was selected by the Golden State Warriors in the first round of the 1993 NBA Draft, 3rd pick overall, but was traded along with 3 future first-round picks to the Orlando Magic for the rights to first overall pick Chris Webber. As soon as Hardaway came in, he took the league by storm as a rookie, creating matchup nightmares for every team at the guard position because of his 6'7" frame. With his build and explosive athleticism, Hardaway was even compared to a young Kobe Bryant. He created a formidable duo with Shaquille O'Neal, which in 1995 was able to take the Magic to the NBA Finals, but were swept by the Houston Rockets. In his best season on the Magic, Hardaway's averages were 21.7 points, 4.3 rebounds, 7.1 assists, as well as 2 steals. Penny made 4 All-Star teams, but early in 1998 he suffered a serious knee injury that took him out for the year, and knee required 4 surgeries for him to get back. After those surgeries, Hardaway was never the same player, and his incredible athleticism was gone for the rest of his career. For the next 10 seasons, he was just a shell of his former self. To say the least, Hardaway's promising career ended before it really got going. His career stats are 15.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists per game, and 1.6 steals. He played for the Orlando Magic, Phoenix Suns, New York Knicks, and the Miami Heat. Number 5. Larry Bird. Yep, Larry Bird is here as well, even though he actually played 13 seasons and had an unbelievable career despite having huge issues with his back. Larry's career averages are 24.3 points, 10 rebounds, 6.3 assists, and 1.7 steals. By some, he's actually considered in the GOAT conversation, as he was as clutch and hard-nosed stubborn as it gets. He was a Boston Celtic all of his career and had a historic run. He is an unquestionable Hall of Famer. Only twice in his whole career he failed to average at least 20 points per game, and in one of those seasons he only played 6 games. By the end of his run, he just couldn't stay on the court. The whole point with me talking about Larry Bird here is that even though he had a Hall of Fame career, and he's by some even considered the GOAT, he could have been even better if it wasn't for his back injury. Number 6, Yao Ming. Yao Ming was an unbelievable surprise to the whole NBA when he came in. He was a 7'6", 310-pound giant who got drafted by the Houston Rockets as the first overall pick in 2002. Yao was 22 years old by then, and as any big man, especially at 7'6", was a huge risk by the Rockets. We had so many high picks with big men that just turned out to be busts, and this guy was coming in from Shanghai, China. At that height, he had an unbelievably soft touch from mid-range and was a great free throw shooter as well. The man was a sensation, even sparking interest from Shaq himself and a small rivalry which led to both players having an enormous respect for each other. Yao quickly put to rest any doubts if he could play as soon as he got on the floor. He made the all-rookie team, and for his career, even though it was short, he was a member of 5 All-NBA squads. As Ming was entering his prime, he developed osteomyelitis in his toe, which sidelined him for a good portion of his 4th season. Yao also endured a broken bone in his foot, a broken knee, and microfracture surgery to his left foot. When healthy, Yao was almost unstoppable, and if he would have been able to have a long career and keep playing, he might have gone down as one of the best centers ever. Because of all the injuries, he managed to play 7 seasons. In his best season, he averaged 25 points, 9.4 boards, 2 blocks in 33 minutes per game. His career stats are 19 points, 9.2 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 1.9 blocks. He only played for the Houston Rockets. Number 7, Amari Startermeyer. Amari was an unbelievable talent. He had a 17-year career, but since his 8th year in the NBA had very bad knee problems, which destroyed his explosiveness and athleticism. He was great. He wasn't good only because of the system he played in Phoenix. He had plenty of talent. The reason he was so deadly was his mid-range game. He could pick and roll for an easy dunk or hit off a screen with a jump shot. Startermeyer would often just blow by weaker big men with his quickness for a monster slam, and when he was healthy, he was considered one of the top big men in the NBA period. Top 5 for sure. The only weakness for Amari was his defense, where he was really lacking at times, and that was his biggest deficiency. As I mentioned in the beginning, Amari developed very serious knee problems, and that is why Phoenix gave up on him and he was signed by the New York Knicks. His first season with New York was great, with averages of 25 points, 8.2 rebounds. Right after that season, his knees started giving him problems again, and that was it. From then on, Startermeyer was a shell of his former self. His career stats are 20.4 points, 8.3 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and 1.3 blocks. He played for Phoenix and the New York Knicks as far as I remember. Number 8, Gilbert Arenas. Agent Zero in his prime and when healthy was unstoppable. He had unlimited range, crazy jump shot, and went equally head-to-head with Kobe Bryant himself a few times when they actually developed a rivalry between each other. If you know his history, he's an easy target to attack for his stunt with a gun out of practice. When his career started, he showed some of his potential with Golden State and was signed by the Wizards, where he turned himself into an all-star, averaging 23.4 points per game and 5 assists, and pushed the Wizards into the playoffs. At the very end of the 2007 season, he tore his MCL and never was able to play a full season again. If he had never gotten injured, the Wizards might have turned into a serious contender, and Gilbert might have been looked at today as one of the best scoring point guards of this era. His career stats are 20.7 points per game, 3.9 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.6 steals. He played for Golden State, Washington Wizards, Orlando Magic. Number 9, Grandmama. Grandmama was his nickname, but no one actually thought that name would describe his back condition. After being an all-star in 2 consecutive seasons and averaging 19.6 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 4.1 assists, With the Hornets, Johnson was sent off to the New York Knicks because of his beef with Alonzo Mourning. Johnson had to reinvent his game with the Knicks, become more of a perimeter player, and his averages fell. His back problems started to impact his quickness, explosiveness, and athleticism. Over the final 3 years of his NBA career, his back problems became a bigger and bigger issue, and his production began to suffer even more. He was forced to retire at age 31, turning a potential Hall of Fame career into merely a decent one. Sounds like the Knicks with Amari and Johnson don't have much luck with their forward signings. Larry's career stats are 16.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He played for the Charlotte Hornets and the New York Knicks. Number 10, Bernard King. Number 10 on the list is again a forward of the New York Knicks. When you talk to Knicks fans, they will most likely tell you that King was one of the 5 best players in the NBA ever. When King was healthy and had it going, it is impossible to argue that point. Only very few people in the league had the talent like King had to put the ball in the hole. After his 8th season in 1985, Bernard King suffered a torn ACL. Just before that injury, he was averaging 32.9 points and 6 rebounds. He was literally unstoppable and in his prime. He missed the whole next season, but was determined to come back while being 29 years old at the time. After a rigorous rehab, King came back decent but damaged. He was still able to score thanks to his incredible talent, but lost his athleticism that made him unstoppable. His career stats are 22.5 points, 5.8 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He played for the New Jersey Nets, Utah Jazz, Golden State Warriors, New York Knicks, and the Washington Bullets. Yes, there are many more players that had their careers taken away or shortened by injuries, and they were, and some still are, good players, but this was 10 of them. Others may come in the next video on this subject. Let me know if you're interested in that. For more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and like the video. Your subscription and like means a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.